Minds. I'm Diane, Dayton. Today we're going to talk about a great nonprofit organization that's making a huge difference in our community for animals and for their owners. We're going to talk about Pet Pantry of Lancaster County. With us right now we have Melody Sanders. You are the CEO and the president. Thank you for being here. No stranger to our set. And we also have someone new that has joined, Veterinarian Shalley Gastelu, right?
Yes.
Wow. What Pet Pantry has been able to do well over a decade now has been amazing, the difference that you're making in the community. I believe most people probably know what you do, but let's bring everybody up to speed. The three tenets are?
Feed, fix, rescue.
All right, and that's exactly what it is, and that's exactly what you do. So this started, Mel, and we know because out of the need that you saw. Is that right?
That is correct. It started with a simple visit to a pet store, having an owner come in, not having enough money to pay for food, and the pet store extended a bag of food until the lady had some money. And that's what started, and it just snowballed from there.
Yeah, because you think this shouldn't be, right?
Absolutely. When you see somebody that has to make a choice between eating themselves or feeding their animals, there's definitely a problem there. And you needed somebody to step in, and that's how the Pet Pantry got formed. That was the basis for all of this, is to make sure animals stay where they belong with their families.
Okay. And you can do this and you make a difference because, first of all, the whole feeding is one of the big things that you do.
Yes.
Address that.
We had to figure out how to start a program that people could keep their animals at home, and not only just keep them at home, but also make them responsible pet owners. So we have people that apply for our pet food program, and they actually sign a contract with us. And basically what it says is I will keep my animal up to date on vaccines, I will make sure that my animal gets spayed and neutered, and I'll also get my dog license if that's what it, if we have a dog. And we'll work with people. We understand that people have financial hardships. They can't afford to do all this at once. So we will step in, we will help them get the animal spayed and neutered. We offer a lot of times free vaccine clinics, even free microchip clinics, to make sure that their animal is compliant with the law, and also to make sure that they're healthy.
So you have a strong support system to help the families, correct?
The community has been absolutely phenomenal. Over the last 10 years, they have always stepped up, donated food. We have never gone a month without being able to feed an animal.
Yeah.
There's always been that supply there for us.
Okay. And fixing is important, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, spaying and neutering your pets is, a wonderful thing to do to control like the unwanted pet population that, inevitably dogs and cats alike tend to, come together and have accidental litters, and then that gives us the dilemma of saying, like, what do we do with all these pets that don't have homes, which is a very unfortunate situation. And if you're in a situation of, financial hardships, it makes it that much more challenging. So to prevent all of that, spaying and neutering them early on before they go through, heat cycles and those behaviors that they experience is great. And then it's also really beneficial for their health too, preventing, like testicular cancer, prostatic cancer for the males, and then for the females, preventing like uterine infections and, ovarian cancers, uterine cancers as well, mammary cancers as well.
So there's really a lot of benefit to this,
Absolutely.
More than what people typically think of. Is that right, Shalley?
Absolutely, yeah. I think especially in a a shelter type rescue setting, it is more important than than some people would give it credit for. Sure, it's not it's not just some people, veterinarians saying like, oh, spay and neuter your pet. Like there are 100% medical benefits and some behavioral ones as well to spaying and neutering.
And it makes a difference with our community cats as well, right, Mel? That's where the TNR comes in. Address that, Mel.
Everybody knows the community cats are out there, and there's not just a few, there are thousands of them out there, and it's very hard to keep up with the spaying and neutering of them to bring the population down. And a lot of them are people that toss their cats out that aren't spayed and neutered because they then have behavioral issues inside the house, spraying, and stuff like that, so they toss them outside. And then reproduction starts taking place outside, and then it becomes, overwhelming.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of great organizations out there trying to control the TNR. We are trying to do the best that we can also to make sure that the population starts going down.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it makes a difference in the communities and the quality of life for everybody, the animals as well as individuals that live in our communities when we help control this population.
Yes.
So the other part is rescue. Tell us about that.
Well, we when we started our food program, even when we tried to step in and help people with, sustenance, for their animals, they weren't able to keep their pets because of certain situations, whether they were losing their home, somebody got sick. So then we started our rescue, and we started taking mostly cats in at the time. Now we are now expanding to dogs. We want these animals to have a soft place to land.
Yeah. And it's important to pair them up with the right family, too. There's a process with this, isn't there?
We absolutely have a phenomenal adoption coordinator who will check everybody out that makes an application. He questions you on what type of pet you want, what kind of personality you're looking for. We even try to team up seniors with seniors, because sometimes that's the best way to go.
Sure.
A lot of people want kittens. And that's great. A lot of people like the kittens, but a lot of people want that middle-aged cat because they already know that personality is already developed and they know what they're getting right off the bat.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. What else do we need to think about when we're rescuing an animal, Shalley? What would you think of from your standpoint?
For rescuing an animal, I guess that would depend how much time you have available. So
Yes.
for example, if you do have a senior pet that has, veterinary needs, medicine throughout the day or something like that as well. Then, of course, what other pets you have in the home is extremely important to know what dynamic they have between them too, that being, same species or interspecies like dog and cat as well. So making sure you can bring them, for regular veterinarian checks as well to get, routine exams and blood works as needed and up to date on the vaccinations.
Yeah.
So.
Well, what you're doing is really bringing another member into the family.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
And that's what it's about. Only this one you get to interview, right? But it's really good to have that connection together. And it makes a difference when you actually look at all of these things. Now, in the process, it's also important when you get these animals in, you need to have foster homes as well. How does that work?
We build a foster network. Basically, when an animal comes into us, that just needs a little bit of extra care, or we have no placement in our facility at the time to put it up for adoption, we will put it in a foster home. These are families that step up to the plate and say, we're going to give it the love it needs. We supply everything that the animal needs. All they got to do is bring the love and the care until we are ready to place it in a forever home.
Okay, so when you say we supply everything they need, get a little bit more specific so we really understand what's involved with
Food,
this.
litter pan, dog food, leashes, whatever, bones, treats, we supply everything.
Okay. Do you know how long, I know it's hard to calculate, how long they would be in a foster situation? It could be from here to here, I assume.
I would definitely say, depending on the condition of the animal, a lot of times you have some kittens that are bottle babies that may be with us for a long period of time. We may have an animal that went through some surgery that needs to recoup time in a home. And then you may have one that may just be for a week until we actually have placement in our facility for the animal to be open to the public to come in and visit with them.
Yeah, and it is important to have these foster homes. It makes a difference, too, in what you see as a veterinarian, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. For example, we had a cat that had likely either a congenital or traumatic injury to their arm, and they needed to have their forelimb amputated. That might alter their behavior, and then being a little more shy and stuff like that. So really allowing them time to develop in foster care and heal properly before being looked at as an adoptable candidate is extremely important. Other animals have exposure to infectious or parasitic diseases that may need short or long-term treatment, and during that time, it's important to have them in a caring foster environment that gives them their medications and make sure they monitor them for any concerning signs that they may need to come back in for additional veterinary care.
It's a huge, important step in the process.
It absolutely is. And the other nice thing about the foster program is when you place an animal in a home, if the foster home has children, if it has other pets, we get to see the interaction there. Therefore, we know what type of home this animal should be placed in. And that is a big, big benefit, because if you can place that animal in the right home right off the bat, there's less likely for that animal to come back and go through the system again.
Yeah, that's huge. Okay, there's a website. It's Pet Pantry LC, which stands for LancasterCounty.org. What are we going to find on there, Mel?
You're going to find all the information about us there. Our Feed Fix Rescue program, if you want to volunteer for us, if you want to donate to us, if you need the food program. Everything is there. Even if you want to make an appointment to have your animal spayed and neutered, you can make it all there.
All right. We're also going to talk about more volunteer opportunities in the next segment, but I know that's there as well, too. And we also have, social media presence as well. Facebook, I know?
Yep. our Facebook, we try to get all our animals that are adoptable up and out there for people to see. So the more promotion we can do for them, the more people get to see them. People come in and they fill out their applications. And we always tell people, if you're interested in an animal, get pre-approved.
Yeah.
Because if you see an animal that, you know, a cat that comes up for adoption and you're pre-approved, you can walk in.
Yeah.
Because we do not do same-day adoptions.
Okay. All right. What we're going to do is we're going to take a brief pause, and we come back. There's so much more to talk about because their services are expanding because the need is there. So stay with us. You're watching Lancaster Community TV, LCTV 66. Welcome back to Behind the Lines. We're talking about Pet Pantry of Lancaster County and the amazing difference that you're making in the community for cats and dogs and for the people that live here too. Now, Pet Pantry is expanding because there's a need. So there is another building you're working on.
Yep, right around the corner from our 26 Millersville location, right on Columbia Avenue, we are having kennels, and we're also having a TNR clinic. And then we also are having a residential area for a vet student or a visiting doctor that they'll be able to stay with us too. We found with our foster program, even with our dogs, a lot of times we'll have somebody needing to surrender a dog over to us and we don't have a foster family available, so where do we go with them? So our idea was to create a nice kennel space for these animals to have a soft place to land until we could actually find a foster family to go with. It's not a large kennel, but it's going to be a very high quality kennel that these animals will be able to have a fantastic space to spend their time while they're with us there.
Yeah, and the contact that they have with the human element there is key too, isn't it?
There will be dedicated staff just to that kennel space. They will have a huge play yard in the back of this building that they can go out and enjoy themselves. It's actually in a neighborhood location where the dogs can be walked. They can get used to the sounds and the people and the coming and going and everything else. So they'll have a good time with us until they find their family.
Yeah. Boy, this is really key to have this too, isn't it, Shalley?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's a phenomenal thing that we're going to be able to expand our services for dogs because they're absolutely needed.
Yeah. It has a lot to do with how the animal is going to interact with other humans and other animals too, to have them in this safe space, correct?
Right, and it gives us a chance to learn their personalities, what their quirks are, what their likes, what they don't like.
Yeah.
Are they good with little dogs? Are they good with kids? You know, do they just want an older person? You know, if you have an older dog, do they just want to be around an older person and spend their senior years doing, you know, laying around and going for nice short walks in the park?
Well, it's great that you're doing this, and it's key, but it takes a lot of volunteers to keep this running the way that it should be. So do you know offhand how many volunteers you have right now?
We have about 85 volunteers,
85
active volunteers.
Okay. What does it take to be a volunteer?
It takes a dedication and love of animals. It's not just all petting dogs and cats. We have people that work really hard for us. They come in, they feed and clean. A lot of them sort food for us. A lot of them do laundry. And now with the kennels coming on, we're going to need people taking care of these dogs. We will have a training period that people can come in, learn how to work with the animals, and have different levels, you know, whether or not you can have a hard dog or a soft dog to work with, and we'll work through all that. But we want to make sure that these dogs are in good hands. So all the volunteers that we're getting in will absolutely be trained and be comfortable with what they're doing.
Yeah, that's key. I know you have single individuals that come in, they're couples, but I think there are also families that help to volunteer as well, don't they?
Yes, we do have several families, and it's a group effort.
Yeah.
And they'll come in and they'll do a feed and clean. And again, even some of the foster families we have come in as a group and volunteer for us. And it makes a difference because a lot of times when they see the incoming animals, and especially with the dogs coming in, they might be able to pick and choose who they want.
Yeah. And it's a great way for these younger people, too, to learn what's needed, what's necessary, and to learn responsibility, too.
A lot of people think owning a dog, and we'll go back to that, is an easy thing to do. It is not. A dog sometimes requires a little bit more of attention than a cat. They have to be walked and everything else and taken outside and played with. And I think it is a good way for somebody to experience that without actually owning an animal.
Yeah. Things we also need to think about, and this is something I'd like to hear from you too, Shalley. When you're taking care of an animal, what are some of those things you really need to think of? I know we talk about the vaccinations and that sort of thing, but what's really key to their overall health and well-being?
As a pet owner, you're asking?
Well, what you need to take into consideration,
I think like Mel touched on, having the amount of time available, I think is a really, really important thing that some people may overlook. And if you're limited on time, then perhaps choosing a breed that might be, more more relaxed though, compared to like an active breed, like a German Shepherd, a Border Collie. That may need,
Border Collie.
Yeah, I have a Shepherd, she has Border Collie, right?
Right, yeah.
That may need, a big yard to play in, if at the very least, like multiple walks a day kind of thing.
Right.
Because those things, when they're not met, they then lead to destructive behavioral, habits at home that then may lead to people returning the dogs because, they're unable to care for them appropriately.
Right.
So definitely making sure that you have enough time for sure. And then just making sure that you have the either the group effort or you are available to like monitor them to make sure if there's any changes with their diet or their activity level that to bring them into for veterinary care.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I have some great statistics here I would like to share. I know they're not all memorized, and I'm sure they've all even increased since this, but so far in 2023, what Pet Pantry has done, these are some of the areas that they make a huge difference. The pounds of dry food distribution has been 16,825.
And it has definitely increased.
And that's increased. Cans of wet food over 6,000.
Well,
TNR surgeries over 300.
that's increased.
Discounted vet services. This is really important too. Over $118,000 worth of that. Forever Homes found probably about 200 at this point, over 200, right?
Oh, yeah.
And number of families being helped right now is right around 300, right?
Yes, and there's a lot of people that just walk through our front door and need emergency food or that are not even on our food program.
Right.
They walk in, they're homeless and they need food to feed their animal, or they just lost their job and they don't have enough money to make the week stretch out. Can we give them a bag of dog food? So there are more than probably that being helped.
Yeah, wow, that's huge. What is something that we might not have covered or that you think is really important that we need to know about Pet Pantry or about pet care?
Pets are an obligation. When you take them on, it is a responsibility to that animal. It is not a couple month thing. It is sometimes 10, 12 years, even 17 years that you're going to have this animal, and it is a responsibility. There are organizations out there set up to help you. We happen to be one of them. Always remember, if you want to donate, any amount of donation is always important. Doesn't matter how big or how small, it will make a difference.
Okay.
Because when you take a bunch of small, it makes something big, and we can make something big happen with that.
Yeah. So some of the things that we can do is we can bring in different types of food. Are there certain qualifications for that? Or?
We don't care what kind of food you bring us.
Okay.
Dry cat food, that is like gold to us because we feed so many cats.
Yeah.
And we do blend the food together. So the cats are getting a mixed diet every month. We'll take any quality of food that you can bring. And then the dog food, we can always use dry dog food.
Okay. Are there other needs that you have, whether it's blankets or anything? Is there any other items?
Lightly used blankets and towels. We use those in surgery. We use those for TNR all the time. Pee pads are very important.
They are.
Okay, there you go, pee pads.
Pee pads, you never knew. But pee pads are very important because we do use those for the post-surgery on all our animals.
Yeah. Oh, the other thing that I absolutely love is the little shop.
The thrift shop. Everything that is in our thrift shop is donated to us. And it's not big, but it's mighty.
Oh, yeah.
People do not realize how much money that produces for us. And those generous donations allow us to take that money and then use it towards our programs to help everybody.
I always suggest do your holiday shopping there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I have.
I know. I found a good couple of finds
You
there
do.
as well.
You
Yeah.
find some great finds there. for cats and for dogs. I mean, you've got not only the treats, you've got some of the coats and the beds. And
Oh yeah, you name it. Depending on the time of year, seasonal. If your cat needs something or dog needs something for the holidays to dress them up in, we've got that. Halloween, we've got costumes. Summer, we've got life jackets. We change seasonally.
Yeah.
And it changes weekly depending on what donations we get in.
Okay. So let's just talk briefly about the hours so people know when you're open and that sort of thing.
We are open to the public Tuesday through Sunday, generally from 12 until 7, Monday through Friday, Saturday 12 until 5, and Sunday 12 to 4. So
Okay.
Monday we are there, but we only do surgeries on Monday for our animals and the
Okay.
general public.
And other things too. And you still have that big vehicle, don't you?
Yes, we still have our mobile unit. It has not been out on the road this summer because we've been doing a lot of in-house work, and we also have the renovations going over at the other location. And our staff was a little shy because we had some medical staff out this summer. Bringing on a new veterinarian is definitely making a difference.
Yeah, it is.
So we'll be running full steam.
And Dr. Brenda's still there, running
Dr.
full
Brenda?
force. Yep.
Yes, she is.
Heading up everything.
And then
too.
we've also added, we have a relief vet that is coming in regularly, so we are doing more and
And
more.
who is that?
Dr. Jacob Quinn.
Okay. Well, it sounds like everything is falling into place and you're expanding and making a huge difference. Once again, the website is Pet Pantry LC, which stands for LancasterCounty.org. You can find all the information there. You can donate, and you can also help to volunteer. Thank you so much for everything you're doing. It really makes a difference. Thank you for joining us today, too. I'm Diane Dayton with Behind the Lines, reminding you to look behind the lines. You might be surprised what you find.